Trey, we've got another one.
What it do, what it do, what it do. It's your boy BDAMMONE in the house, and we got Coach Gomez in the house, and we are back at Level Up Productions for episode 113 of Along the Wire, Football Mayday. And if you know what Mayday means, that means get all the attention that you can. You need to listen to what's going on right now, and that is football, and it is being played at a very exciting level here in San Antonio, Texas. And we've had a great weekend of games.
Yep.
And so since we're coming to you on a Sunday, that affords us the ability to give you the brand new top 25 before anybody in the city releases their top 25. I'm going to tell you who the real top 25 is here in San Antonio, Texas. So ready to get into it, Coach?
Let's do it, man.
All right, we're going to go should we do 1 to 25 or 25 to 1?
I say 25 to 1.
Let's do 25 to 1. All right. So coming off of a loss, going down one spot is Lanier. So at 25, you got Lanier. 24, coming off of a victory, back into the top 25 is Taft at 4-3. That's a school that gives teams fits.
Yeah, it's like another Marshall, right?
Yeah,
they just give them fits.
Like you just can't expect any team to come in and lay down. So you know, Taft is a fighting school. You know, so they just lost to no. Their victory was over John Jay.
Yeah.
They beat John Jay, and they've played everybody tough this year. Yeah. I think that's a good measuring stick school in Northside.
Oh, for sure. I think a lot of these schools, you know, the Tafts, the Marshalls, I think Corona, when they hit, a lot of these kids now take the games a little more serious, I believe.
Right.
You don't know if you're going to be playing the next week, and we touched on that. Shows past, talking about you never know when they're going to take that football game away from you.
Exactly.
So I think right now, as the season's starting to boil down at the end, some of them are saying, man, we had a short season. Some of them are saying, man, some teams like Edison, you know, they got suspended their season.
Yeah.
So now it's like, it's a do or die for a lot of these kids, man.
Exactly.
And I think those schools like that, they really take advantage of it now.
And I think that, you know, if things get back to any type of normalcy as was pre-COVID, then those schools, Taft and Marshall that you named, are going to be teams that other schools have to watch out for in Northside.
Yeah. Because now they've proven to themselves that they can hang.
They've had a little taste of it.
Yes.
They've had a little taste of it. All right, let's get moving on. We got Southwest Legacy at 23, who had a bye in their previous game the week before. They lost to Southside in a very well contested match. 22 coming back into the top 25. We have Churchill at 5-3. At 21, another school from Northside, who was a fighting school, Warren at 5-3. At 21, they are up one spot from last week. Number 20, Madison, 4-4. They just lost to Brandeis. Very well contested game. Like they put up the most points on Brandeis that any school has this season. Yeah. 31 points on that Brandeis defense. Harlan didn't do that. Who else didn't do that?
Has Brennan played them?
Roosevelt didn't do that.
Yeah. Has Brennan played Brandeis yet?
They won't. Due to the district change. But Madison is that school, and like a lot of teams in San Antonio, they have the pieces. The pieces have to recognize their abilities and stay focused and on track and realize that you can be greater than what you are.
Yeah, for sure.
So Madison down one spot from last week at 20. Seguin. Seguin people message me and say y'all are disrespecting us by not having us in your rankings. I'm like, look, I'm paying attention to y'all.
Yeah.
And they are number 19 this week, up 2 spots from last week. Stevens is at 18. They are up 2 spots from last week. Let me move this real quick. Sorry, y'all. 17 Memorial. They just had their game canceled.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with Edison. So it says that they're coming off of a win, but that's a forfeit win, and they are down 3 spots from 14 last week. Harlan is up 2 spots to 16 now.
Mm-hmm.
That's another Northside school that I'd like to see get it together. They've got a big game coming up against Brennan on Saturday, and honestly, I'd have to say I'm a bit worried.
I don't know, man. You can't count those guys out. And
I'm not counting them out, but for me to have my prediction of them winning district, I'm a little bit worried.
True.
I'm a little bit worried. And
but we have seen them improve each week.
Exactly.
And some of the games where we think they should blow out the opponent, they don't really blow out the opponent.
Right.
And the games that we think they're going to be tough, they end up staying in those games.
Exactly.
So they just got to figure out. But we were talking about the last time. I think they've already kind of figured it out.
So Harlan is 16. 15, we got SAISD. Highlands at 3-0.
Yep.
Doing what they need to do. They just beat Jefferson this past week, and they've got some young talent. They've got a lot of sophomores and juniors. So I think next year, just like we were talking about Taft, Highland's getting a little bit of this success, and they'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that's going to go a long way for them for next season.
Yeah, I think the last few years Highlands has started to build that winning tradition. Remember they had that running back, was it Palomino?
Yeah.
I mean, that kid ran the ball really well, man. Unstoppable kid the last 2 seasons. Graduated. I think they've did a little overhaul, but still on the same track, same mission.
At number 14, we've got Bernie Champion up 2 spots from last week. They beat Floresville this past weekend. Outside of Darian Murphy, I kind of expected a little bit more from Floresville this season, so a little bit disappointed in how their seasons turned out. But hey, Bernie Champion went in there and they took care of business, up 2 spots from 16 last week. Next up is Alamo Heights. They maintain their spot, and they won their game this past week. But they stay at 13. Number 12, Roosevelt. Roosevelt played a tough game versus Johnson, and probably Johnson's toughest game this season. So definitely, I had them in the top 10 last week. They were at number 9, and just given how they played and the run that they gave Johnson, they're gonna drop a little bit. But I like the fact that I think that they're realizing what they can do. Sometimes when you take those tough losses, even their game last year versus Johnson was a really good game. So the fact that they don't have the pieces that they had last year and they're still able to give them a run, like that. Down to number 12 this week. Steele just lost to Judson. They are down 4 spots. Very nicely contested game, but I think Judson's defense just showed the difference.
Defensive line controlled the game, man.
Yeah, definitely. Now for the top 10.
Let's do it.
Wagner at number 10, coming off of their 49-0 victory over South San. Up 2 spots. One thing, like you mentioned about the Harlan game, when teams are able to do what they're supposed to do against the squads that you figure that they do it to, you got to acknowledge that, and that shows you that squad and that coaching staff gets how to win when they're supposed to win. So shout out to Wagner for that. Now top 10. New Braunfels Canyon, 7-1 now. They are second in their district behind Dripping Springs, but they are on a 5-game winning streak right now. They are number 9. up 1 spot from last week from 10 to 9. Brandeis back in the top 10. Brandeis took care of business with Madison. They got Aiden Anesta back and came in 2 interceptions and a touchdown. So immediately impacting the game. Jalen Rainey balled out again. The only question still remains quarterback.
Yeah.
But Brandeis is just one of those schools that, you know, they can put it together, and the field position is so important with them, and they have key players like Aiden who can put them in positions to where if you play on a shorter field, then you have a higher chance of scoring anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely helps when you got your game changers in there. So, Brandeis at number 8, 5-2. Number 7, we got Brack.
4-0.
4-0, up 1 spot from number 8 last week. They won their game versus Lanier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a very well contested game. It was only 21-14 was the final score. So they're taking care of business. Number 7, Brackenridge. Number 6, Southside had a bye week. They are 7-0, so we're keeping them there. Smithson Valley, 6-1. They are maintaining their spot from last week. Brennan, 1-point win.
I saw that, man. They almost lost. It was in Marshall.
Yeah, 1-point win over Marshall. So that's another school that you mentioned about being a fighting school.
Mm-hmm.
You give them Marshall and Warren. Warren beat Brennan. Marshall comes in within 1 point of beating Brennan. So you think Brennan was looking ahead?
Yeah, I really do.
So
they probably went into that game thinking, oh, we got it in the bag, and
right,
probably didn't do too many adjustments on their end, and probably had the mentality is, you know what, Marshall has to stop us instead of really preparing for Marshall.
I mean,
and
Marshall's been some fighters all season.
As soon as the game gets started, they're probably saying, oh, shit.
Yeah.
We need to do adjustments and make adjustments. And probably at halftime they had to make them adjustments and prepare for them.
Exactly. So, hey, Brennan, you know, as I was talking about Harlan possibly, thank you for making my pick of Harlan winning district might seem like a possibility now because y'all were rolling. I mean, I know y'all had the hiccup versus Warren, but then y'all came back the next week and y'all slapped O'Connor. And then now,
yep.
Marshall, you got to keep your head on focus, man. So, and I got a text from a player earlier that I showed you, and it's not like they aren't looking forward. Like, y'all haven't been saying each other's names the entire season. So, I mean, Brennan versus Harlan this Saturday is going down. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yep.
Number 3, we got Reagan. They maintain their spot. Number 2, Judson. They maintain their spot. Number 1, Johnson.
Yep.
And they defeated Roosevelt. So they maintain their number 1 spot. I want to talk about this real quick before we end the segment. In what way would you see Judson jumping Johnson for the number 1 ranking? Judson still has Wagner, and they have Smithson Valley on the schedule. Not 2 pushover games at all.
No.
Johnson's 1 game ahead of Judson on the schedule due to the cancellation. They haven't had any cancellations yet. I know that Johnson's performance versus Roosevelt, I'm going to go through, and I'm going to have to see who's number 1.
Yeah. I think they're going to celebrate.
It's not locked.
No,
is what I'm saying. It's not locked.
Like you said, they both teams got some serious games coming up, and it can go either way within the next 2 weeks.
Johnson's got Reagan.
Yeah.
And what happens if Reagan wins that? Reagan's number 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reagan's only losses to Brennan, who lost to Warren.
Who lost to Warren? Yep.
Who lost to Warren, who lost to Marshall, who lost to Stevens, who beat
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, you can play connect the dots all day, but that number 1 spot is not locked.
No, it's not.
It's not locked. There's still time left, and if Judson is as impressive as what they could possibly be, then all that starting from 18 would mean nothing.
Exactly.
All that starting from 18 would mean nothing. So that is your top 25 for San Antonio, Texas, before anybody else. And I'm going to be tweeting this out too, because we are going to stay ahead. So this is your top 25. I don't care what anybody else says. This is your San Antonio, Texas top 25 high school teams. Put in with deep thought, care, unequivocally. What did Stephen A. Smith say? We are not tainted by politics here. We are not, this is all, from the gut, from the hip. Y'all see me out there. I put my face to these teams, and it's all good for the love of the community in San Antonio, Texas high school football. This is your top 25, and we will be right back with our next segment. Hey, what it do? It's your boy BDAMMONE and Coach Gomez, and we are back with our Coffee Corner Convo. And once again, we say that because if you're with us this early in the morning, you're going to need a coffee. And we're going to need some coffee and patience. So we have got a very special guest coming off of a very big rivalry victory this weekend. We've got the one and only Michael Burroughs, the starting quarterback for Converse Judson. How's it going, man?
It's good. And good in y'all.
Bless, man. Bless. So, want to get exactly right into it. How were you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good. It's a great day. Great Sunday.
So, coming off of that Steele off of the victory over Steele, what are some of the things that you like that y'all were able to accomplish in that game?
I felt like we all came together as a team because, we had a week off due to Corona, which was unfortunate. So coming out and playing Steele, it was a big game, and we really needed to come together as a team because Steele is a good team. So we didn't take anybody lightly. So it was just like a team effort. I felt like it was a great team effort. Offense did their thing. Defense really stepped up to the plate. So it was all around great team win.
Awesome. So, people who know the history of Judson know that they always have very good quarterbacks. And you are coming after Mike Chandler. So becoming the starter at Judson, I know you were sitting behind him for a couple of years. Being the starter at Judson, what does that mean to you now that it's your time?
It's a great feeling, actually. Coming into the season, it was kind of like a big step for me because I was a backup last year. So knowing that it was in my hands to lead this team and actually have the opportunity to lead this team was just a great feeling. And it means a lot to me because like my coaches and my teammates have a lot of faith in me and they expect a lot from me, which was a big step for me. And it's just been a great experience so far this season.
Okay, awesome. So like you said, and playing behind Michael Chandler, were there any tips or anything or any guidance that he gave you that you've been able to use this season, or anything that you just picked up from him that you added to your game?
There was a couple of things. He's always told me, like, when I do get in the game, like last year, to take advantage of it and treat it like I'm actually starting and like I played the full game. So just this season I came in and I wanted to prove like that I can do it and I actually have enough talent to be who a lot of people expect me to be.
Exactly. I think that's one of the important things about, when people hear about a backup quarterback, it doesn't mean that there's a drop off.
No.
It just means that you're another quarterback that they have on the team. So getting in there and understanding that responsibility is big, and that's as you hear Michael saying, for all y'all backup quarterbacks who are waiting for their moment, when you get in there, don't say, hey, I'm just holding this position until the first one gets in. that's your time. That's what you do. You aren't going to look at that film and be like, "Oh, well, this is my backup days." No, this is when you're playing. So make sure y'all are listening to what he's saying, that even though he came in last year and played some, or now that he has his opportunity, he's not thinking about ever being a backup. This is Michael's time, so he's doing exactly what he needs to do, taking advantage.
Yep.
So as we all know, the season did not start off as everybody might have planned or hoped for, and y'all took a loss to DeSoto, one of the best teams in the state. What are some of the takeaways that y'all took in that game and playing a squad of that caliber that you're now using in district?
Well, first starting off, we felt like it was a great opportunity to play DeSoto, because we realized that not every team is just gonna like lay down to us, and that so they're not just gonna lay down just because we're the Judson Rockets. So we're gonna have to fight regardless.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again?
It was a great opportunity to play DeSoto because like we realized that not everybody's just gonna lay down just because we're the Judson Rockets. We're gonna have to fight, and we're gonna have to prove that we're gonna have to prove that like we are who we say we are, basically. So playing DeSoto, we learned a lot, because there may be teams out there that are bigger and stronger than us, but we have to be more disciplined and do the little things right so that we are able to win those big games. And so they may have better athletes, but I mean, we have good athletes, we have good coaches. So we took away and we used that for district, is because we also have some good teams in district. Mm-hmm. So like when we're playing them, we treat it as we're playing DeSoto again, to get that like the same feeling we had, and just like kind of a type of revenge that we wanted to have going into the playoffs.
Exactly, and that's one thing about your district. We've had another one of your quarterbacks in the district, Wyatt Beagle, who you just faced on, and every week is a playoff game. It's going to be that atmosphere, especially in your district. So now that Judson has solidified their playoff spot, and y'all are still undefeated in district, what's the next goal for Judson to accomplish?
Well, our next goal for right now is we're focused on the district championship. And then from there, we all know what the main goal is, and that's to go through our playoffs and win a state championship. So that's right now we're focused on the district championship, but later on throughout the playoff, we're hoping that we could go all the way to state and play in January.
Awesome. You have any questions, Coach?
No, man. I think you hit them all.
All right. So, I don't ever like to be 100% serious, and I want people to be able to get to know the guests who come on the show. So the first thing I want to ask you is, who won between Gucci Mane and Jeezy?
I think Jeezy won. In my eyes, he did. Those old school classics were just way better than what Gucci had.
They still slap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes I listen to them before the game. You got to.
Exactly. And I thought it was very funny. I was like, Gucci Mane keeps talking about, we're playing songs from 2007. We're playing songs from 2009. I got recent hits, and I'm gonna put this on YouTube. Gucci, you used to rap trash, and you got better. Okay. You've had a resurgence. When you got back from jail and you dropped Lemonade, everything after that's been fire. Okay. Yeah. So now that you know that. But but yeah, I had Jeezy winning clearly. And it was a point in the battle, not to talk about it too much, but when Gucci played the I didn't seen it all, and then Gucci tried to play the Migos track, I was like, that song just don't even sound the same being played after that. And I know it's a dope song, but it don't sound like nothing compared to Jeezy and Jay-Z.
Yeah, so, Jeezy's it was just way better.
Yeah, straight up. I went from old school Chevys to drop top Porsches. Can't walk a mile. Yeah. So, all right, now. What is your go-to breakfast your dream breakfast that you're going to game day, getting ready for the playoffs. What is Michael Burroughs eating?
So like when throughout the summer, my mom bought me like these little steak cutlets. They're like this thick. And so like they come in a 4-pack. So I eat about 3 of those. I cook them on a pan, and then I sear them in butter. And then I get about 6 to 7 eggs. And then I cook them in the same butter and the same oil I cook my steaks in. So you have the same flavors going into it. That would be
Already?
my pre-meal before the championship if I had to choose anything.
And what are you drinking on?
I gotta go with the lemonade.
Okay. Awesome. Hey man, thank you so much for hold on. Your top 3 songs to listen to before a game, or three songs that we can find on your playlist before a game.
I gotta look those up real quick.
All right.
My first song would be "You See It" by Money Man.
Okay.
My second song would be "No Pen" by Big Yavo.
Okay.
And then
I see Joe writing them down over there so he can jump out.
and my last song would be "Saw" by Big Yavo too.
Okay.
So those would be my top 3 I listen to before the game.
All right, so I'm gonna have to go and listen to those tracks, and I'll see how I can get pumped up before a workout or something. So hey, how can people reach you? What's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter is my Twitter is Mikey QB, but it's M1KEY QB. My Instagram is Gucci Man Mikey. Chat.
He said Gucci Man Mikey.
Did you say Gucci Mane Mikey?
Yeah, Gucci Man Mikey. MANE.
Oh, you ain't
not man.
rolling with Jeezy. We found some. That's a leak.
Gucci Mane Mikey.
Already. Hey, so next up for y'all is Wagner, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all got Wagner coming up. And make sure everybody is out at Rutledge Stadium. If not, I'm sure Texas Sports Productions will be having it streaming online if it's not on TV. But that's 2 of my top 10 teams in the city playing this Friday night on the 27th, day after Thanksgiving. So don't come out there sluggish, because y'all are gonna be full from all that Thanksgiving eating. But so make sure everybody in San Antonio, Texas, is watching that game if you cannot make it out to Rutledge Stadium. Hey man, thank you so much for your time, Mikey, and
you're welcome. Thank y'all.
God bless, and
Good
keep
luck.
keep on winning, man.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, and that was Michael Burroughs from Judson High School. Love hearing his attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that he said that, they have to come out and prove, because no one's gonna lay down because they're Judson.
Yeah, that's the conversations we have on rankings as well.
Exactly.
And I'm glad he said it himself.
Exactly. So because you often wonder that, and if the quarterback is the leader of your team,
yeah,
and to hear him say that, then that means when it's going downhill, that it's understood that.
Well, he probably visualized it firsthand. In the first couple of games, or that one game, he probably saw his teammates with that cockiness, with that attitude, thinking that they were going to lay down for him, and then they got hit in the mouth, and he probably saw his team never react back, and was just taking the beating and just I guarantee on that bus ride from Dallas back down,
Yeah.
he's probably like, man, you know what? They ain't gonna lay down for us,
Right.
You know,
Right.
So I'm glad he did say that though.
Right. Yeah, definitely good to hear that. So, Coach Williams' words are being heard. And we are going to end this segment right now, and we will be right back with some more from Along the Wire, episode 113. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Hey, what it do is BDAMMONE and Coach Gomez. We are back for this update segment. Great conversation with Michael Burroughs that we're coming off of. I loved hearing the stuff that he was saying, man.
Yeah.
I loved hearing that. And speaking of some of the stuff that we talked about as far as playoffs and that being a playoff atmosphere, 27-6A now has their 4 teams that are solidified to make the playoffs. No district champion yet, but they've got the 4 squads that are going to definitely make the playoffs. So now we're going to do a little bit of a flashback. And we were both wrong and right at the same time. And how can that be? Because we picked the 4 schools that made the playoffs, but our upset pick is the one that messed up our initial top 4 schools. So the teams making the playoffs from District 27-6A are Judson, Steele, Smithson Valley, and the one school who we said would possibly mess that up, Wagner. And that's exactly what Wagner did. So congratulations to all teams from 27-6A. Now we're going to find out who exactly is going to be the district champion. That'll be all decided. Wagner still has a say in it. They play Judson coming up. Then after Wagner, Judson has Smithson Valley. So Wagner has a win over Smithson Valley. It's really important for Judson to win this game.
Yeah.
Because if Wagner wins this game, then they jump to be number 1 in the district. So,
it's possible.
Well, no. They jump to being number 2, and it becomes a co-champion in the Smithson Valley game because they lost to New Braunfels. So they have 2 losses. So, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's
good,
gonna
man.
be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So, Steele, Judson, Smithson Valley, and Wagner. I knew Wagner had a chance of messing stuff up, and it's good seeing the players develop that they needed to in order for that to happen, and for those who had doubts on LJ being able to run in 6A versus this district, he's doing it. Yeah. Five games, almost 700 yards. And of course, with the shortened season, he didn't get the first couple of games, did Wagner. So who knows? He would possibly be over 1,000 yards. I got to get the stats from the South Sand game. So if he was at about 700 through 5, I'm not sure what he had last night. So I'm definitely interested in keeping up with that because I'd love to see him get over 1,000 yards again. And with 2 games left, I think that could happen. But
for sure.
Against that Judson defense, it might be a little bit tougher. Yeah. But I know that that's going to be motivation in itself.
Yeah, because it's a rivalry game.
Exactly.
Anything can happen.
Exactly. So shout out to all the teams that made the playoffs for 27-6A. We're just waiting on a district champion now. And we will be right back. But that's your 27-6A update on the playoff teams. Hey, what it do is your boy BDAMMONE and Coach Gomez, and we are going to go over the games that we covered this week. 4 games total, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday. But who can complain about watching football for 4 days? I mean, especially when we're doing all this to make sure that you get the best information and feedback, honest feedback, and you understand what's going down in San Antonio High School football. Let's start off with Friday.
Yep. Judson
versus Steele. I want to run down a checklist because, you know, these teams are at a different point than they were last year, but last year's game was classic. 50-48, Judson won. but the teams have changed up a little bit. I think at quarterback last year, you might have edged Mike Chandler over Wyatt Beagle. So let's do a little position breakdown real quick.
Let's do it.
Quarterback advantage this year.
Was Steele.
Steele. Receiver.
Steele.
Running back.
Judson.
Linebacker.
Judson.
Secondary before the game.
Steele.
Line,
inside line.
O-line, Judson. D-line, Judson. So that's all pregame. And on the receiver, you said Steele. I just said push, but I can understand Steele. Now, postgame, quarterback play.
Quarterback play ended up being Judson kid. He stepped up, and I think he really filled in those shoes that Friday night. It kind of separated him from game one when he was learning the position as a starter, and how much he's grown at this part of the season.
Right.
And it showed. It showed.
Right.
He's gotten a lot more experience now.
Exactly like he said playing against DeSoto. You know, maybe a steal doesn't seem as intimidating when you play DeSoto.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, running back,
Judson. Lewis ran the ball really hard. Did
Definitely.
really well.
Offensive line,
Judson.
Defensive line,
Judson. That number 9 kid. What's his name?
Johnny Bowens.
Kids, y'all gotta look out for Johnny Bowens. That kid he's on the up and coming rise.
Johnny Bowens, sophomore. What you want to call him? Baby Liao. Baby Liao.
Uses his hands really good. Everything's always upfield. Stands about 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
Real good frame, man.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing that kid in the next couple of years.
15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So, D-line, Judson. Linebackers.
Judson.
Whose name did you hear all night?
Moody.
Donnie Moody. Like, and like the tweet I put out there, first base, Donnie Moody, second base, Donnie Moody, third base, Donnie Moody, outfield, Donnie Moody.
Yeah.
Like he's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
He was everywhere. So, Donnie, hell of a game. Now, secondary. We said Steele before the game. After the game, I'm screaming Judson.
You see, I think for some reason, Y got rattled a little bit. For some reason, I think he was rattled. Of course, you're getting these defensive linemen in your face all night.
Right.
But it was like we didn't hit a lot of they started hitting some of the short routes when they were hitting Rendon on some of them drives. But when they would try to hit deep balls, it's like if he lost sight of his receiver or something, and it looked like almost like he was just throwing it when we both know he's a better quarterback.
Exactly.
And
top quarterback in the district, you could argue.
Exactly. And then the Judson DB just would come out of nowhere. And like you said, you called it on one play. You're like, man, that guy had the speed to come across the field and make a play on that ball.
Exactly.
It's either the Judson DBs are just now figuring it out, because they had some big names like Xavier Spencer before. They had Rashad Wisdoms and so forth. You never really had a big name coming into this season that, hey, man, you need to watch out for this DB at Judson.
Exactly.
So I think they're just now coming out of their shell and starting to figure out the game.
I think his name was Eric first name. I don't want to get the last name wrong, but I know the first name's Eric. So I'm going to go back and make sure
but Judson has a few guys that are
coming into their own.
Diamonds in the rough, I would call it. Diamonds in the rough that are coming up.
Receiver, Steele,
yes. I love the way Rendon Lopez played.
Run down his numbers.
I think he ended up with 145 receiving yards on 15 catches.
15 catches.
15 catches, man. And that boy was working his tail off.
So 15 catches out of 33 attempts for Beagle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, half the time he's looking for where Rendon's at.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. Did I break that down? We said O-line, D-line, linebacker, secondary.
What did you think about, on your opinion, as far as the preparation on the coaching side for each team, their game plan?
Boom. That's what we didn't. I gave Steele the advantage before the game in coaching based off of last year's play calling and thinking of how they were going to prep and understanding, like we had Wyatt Beagle on here, and me talking with him, his mindset going into this game is they understand the importance. I know that he has a bunch of young guys that he's helping to bring up right now, but that didn't sway me on how the coaches would come into this game based off of how they coached last year. So I thought that they'd have something prepped, and they apparently had something in the wrinkles for Judson, but Judson didn't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not the adjustments made by the defense from Judson to be able to stop a school, but then maintain it.
Yeah.
I think is what the great adjustment was from last year to this year. Holding them to 16 points when last year you gave up 48.
Yeah.
That's a huge adjustment.
Yeah.
Especially with the first-year starter at quarterback, who didn't put you in any bad positions either.
No, he didn't. He came up with some big throws also.
Exactly. It was so funny. And Coach is here, so when I say this, on the play when he hit Evans, I said, okay, Judson, it seems like it's been a while since they scored.
Yeah.
And the very next play,
They score.
he hits him on the 75-yard touchdown.
You're like, man, it's been a while since Judson scored.
Yeah.
Literally, very next play. Touchdown.
Boom.
Right down the middle for pass.
Exactly. So but yeah, so overall that was a great game. Johnny Bowens, be on the lookout for him on the defensive line. Your boy Rendon Lopez, 15 receptions, crazy. As you can see him on the highlights, and some of the highlights running for the along the wire views of the games that we're talking about right now.
I mean, based on a lot of these stats and numbers, you can tell where the difference was Judson had more of a balanced attack with on the air and on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Burroughs ended up with 166 yards on 11 attempts, and then of course you had DeAnthony Lewis with 128 yards rushing.
And then when Michael Burroughs did run,
he had 86 yards rushing, right? So that gave you a balanced attack in the air and on the ground. You go back and look at Steele, and it looks like all you had was really a passing game going on.
It looks like you're playing from behind the entire game.
Because as far as your rushing yards, you never really established the rush, which doesn't establish the play action.
Exactly.
Not going to get anything open downfield.
And for Rendon and all the success that you have in the passing game from what the numbers look like, you're not really able to hit the big plays.
And the dude was getting open, bro.
Yeah.
It's not like he was working his tail off to get open. So if you could establish that running game where you can have that defense play honest.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Lopez is going to be killing them downfield all day once they establish that.
And not every school is going to be like Judson, so I would expect them. And as shout out JJ from Out the 210, as he said, he's been seeing Steele throw all over everybody.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit curved. I mean, they still threw the ball, but it was like out of necessity.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're lacking that running back they've always had.
Exactly.
They had what was that kid's last year? Thomas.
Yeah.
Right. What's his last name? Years before that, who else did they have? They had Brendan Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, they had who else? The Malcolm Browns come out of there.
Exactly.
You had Justin Stockton.
You've always had somebody who can tote the rock.
Back. Yeah. A big name running back, and this year you didn't really have a guy step up.
That's not your quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that game. Another game I was at yesterday, Central Catholic versus why do I keep Liberty Christian? I keep wanting to say Life Christian. Liberty Christian. Liberty Christian, that was a playoff game. I was able to go out there and check out Sylas Gomez and see exactly because he's one of my top quarterbacks for the 2022 class. And I had been meaning to get out there and see them play, see them play their playoff game versus Liberty Christian Argyle, and based on just his solo performance, I'm not able to get the stats, but over 100 yards passing, close to 100 yards rushing, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, in which which was very impressive, was seeing the very different variances of the passes and the completions he was able to make. I saw him complete passes while he was rolling out to his left, rolling out to his right, calling out the play to the defense and throwing it to the person right in front of the safety. And then Michael Mayhew goes for a 70-something yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So seeing that growth, a lot of things that I had questions about, and seeing workouts with him were all answered in live action. And that's something that you love to see in the development of a young quarterback. But getting to the game, Central Catholic has some pieces. Like we were talking before the show on what I saw. If they have a couple of more people get it in their off season, like you've said all the time, those schools that go further and the teams that are making the biggest strides get it in the off season, and you can understand in the preparation that I know that Central Catholic had in the off season that some of those players got it. And I know Sylas was one of the ones who was spearheading getting people together and working out. So when you have that, you see where you have some here and some here.
Yeah.
And it's got to be
Well, they're all
both
together.
here.
Yeah.
So people kids at Central Catholic, you got a quarterback that's dedicated to winning, and y'all got to get out there with him, because there's definitely pieces on that team that should have won that game. That was a beatable team. The final score was 27-14, and you can see the highlights of the game. Not seemingly making it all Sylas Gomez, but when he's a person who's making it go, and you can understand that the clips might come out that way. But Liberty Christian also had one of the best safeties in the country, Christian Driver, super Power 5 offers, trying to decide between Ohio State, Texas, Bama, all these schools.
And they had that quarterback who's committed to Mississippi State.
And that's still a team that Central Catholic can beat.
Yeah.
For some reason, they weren't able to, I say for some reason, but their running game was on point.
Yeah.
Their running game and the variances, which always makes me think, do other schools watch how other schools run the game? Because I was thinking Wagner could be doing this. I was thinking Harlan could be running the ball like this with how they like to position themselves.
From what I saw also was Liberty Christian was more like, I think we're faster on the edges than you. So they kept on wanting to attack Central on the edges because they felt that they can beat them on the edges.
Getting outside was definitely.
And what they did is they didn't get long runs. They just nickeled and dimed it and controlled the clock.
Exactly.
So they would string it out on some jet sweeps to the right, jet sweeps to the left.
And I think that they implemented doing that immediately after
the opening drive.
Because when Central comes down the field and just boom.
Yeah, we see that opening drive was awesome because Central started with they fumbled the kickoff a little bit, and they were like inside their 10. Then they get a penalty.
Yeah.
Start at their 3-yard line.
Exactly.
Managed to put a drive together, go down the length of the field and score.
Exactly.
So I think at that time it gave them some time to adjust, and then like you called out, they had 13 spying on Sylas the rest of the game.
Exactly.
Because they were like, because he beat them with their legs on that drive. And they came
right
back
side and left side.
Yeah, and then punished them with his arm later on.
Exactly.
But defensively, if we were able to get
just a couple of misses.
Yes.
A couple of misses, and it's a 35-27. I mean, that's just me putting that out there.
Yeah.
But, there's just – you see opportunity at Central Catholic for them to be better than what they are right now. And I think that if they had a couple of more games – I'm not backing down from them beating Antonian either. So, but that's a school that I feel like them, like I was having a conversation about Southside, that if they have a couple of more
pieces,
and if they are able to get 2 more games under the belt, you'll see a better flow for them, especially defensively.
For sure.
Especially defensively. Yeah. All right, so that was Central Catholic. Let's jump to Harlan Thursday night.
Yep.
We don't have highlights of that game. I would be putting those up on the channel and on Twitter. But Harlan versus Holmes. And like I was talking about in the top 25, I was expecting more from Harlan, to be honest. And
Yeah, because that game didn't start opening up till after half.
right,
I showed up.
it was 7-6 at halftime.
7-6. There you go.
7-6 at halftime, and my first half takeaways were, and hey, reach out to me and let me know. But what it looked like was, we're gonna run the ball. We can beat Holmes. Let's just get through this game unscathed, if possible.
Yeah, they didn't want to open up their toolbox and use their tools.
Right.
Basically, they were like,
Right.
we just got one hand tool and we'll be all right.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden at halftime you're down 7-6, and it's like, we got to open up the toolbox and start using other tools for this.
Exactly.
And that's what they did, and they started pulling away. Holmes, man, to be honest with you, after halftime, if they wouldn't have a couple of mistakes to help Harlan out,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been a different ballgame, probably closer towards the end.
Definitely, because
Because they were running
Harlan's second play of the game, interception, and then they have a muffed
fumble, right?
yeah, and then
I think Kannon had 2 interceptions in the first quarter.
no, it was a fumble on a swing pass. I forgot who fumbled it, but it was a fumble. But the first drive was an interception. The first drive was an interception.
And
then
there
the
was
fumble.
another one right before,
right,
on that backside.
right.
Who was it? I don't remember who it was.
I forgot who picked it off, but yeah, it's always going to be little mistakes that are going to give teams, like I was saying in the live that day, if you go into games thinking it's going to be a certain way, and you give a team like Holmes hope,
Yeah.
just like we were saying earlier. We might not have mentioned Holmes, but Marshall, Taft, you start giving these schools that you think you're going to go in and dominate any type of confidence that they can do something, all of a sudden you're in a game.
Yeah.
One of your guys that you pointed out to me, Ernie,
Yeah.
him everywhere that night.
Yeah, Ernie's a great player. Kid was I mean, we talked about it too. I think he gets a little more excited sometimes at times, and he forgets about thinking.
Right.
So like on some of the kickoffs, some of the stuff, you could just let it go behind you and still advance 20 yards instead of getting 7 yards.
Exactly.
Little things like that. But as far as his effort,
it's there.
It's there, bro.
It's there.
And I wish everybody. And that he was guarding Dre Spriggs that night,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing a pretty damn good job of
And
guarding.
coaching up his teammates.
Yes.
On the sidelines.
On
You see, you wouldn't have been able to tell that this is a school that's only won one game this year.
No.
So,
and back then, I think we were talking at the game. I mean, it would be nice to see Holmes be the powerhouse they used to be back then.
right.
You know what I mean?
It's going to take more players like that with that mentality.
Ernie. Yeah, like Ernie, exactly.
Too bad he's a senior too.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, cause their quarterback has some skill. He's an athlete, and he has a little bit of speed. I mean, so you'd like to see if those two were able to cultivate something more at Holmes, to where it'd be better. But let's get on Harlan's case. When you have those tools, and just like we talked about with Brennan, maybe they're looking ahead to Harlan.
Yeah.
You can't go into Holmes and think that if you're going to make a statement, this isn't the one that you want to make.
Yeah.
That we can hang with Holmes, or we can have Holmes hang with us, and we're going up against Brennan. You want to put something on tape that's going to put fear in Brennan.
Yeah.
Now, so to speak, they've given each other hope.
Yeah.
You got Brennan winning the game by 1 point, and you got Harlan struggling with Holmes for a half.
Yeah.
When, in all case and purposes, that's a game that should have been over by halftime. From understanding what these two schools are before the kickoff starts. But then once the ball's in the air, the game is the game.
Yeah.
But then after a while, Dre Spriggs is Dre Spriggs, and Kannon found him. Kannon had a rushing touchdown, was able to make some stuff happen. A.J. McDade is A.J. McDade and has some key pivotal runs and a couple of touchdowns himself.
And it was his first game back that night.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting player of the game.
So, I mean, having a great impact. Impact players are going to change schools.
Yeah.
And they're going to change how stuff comes in. Like I said earlier about Aiden coming back. You know, when you have those players that make the school who they are, then that's one of the best things that you can have for when a player comes back and that team has a look. So, but even with that, I'm still going to harp on Harlan because I do expect something from them. I expect a lot from them. Y'all are better than that.
Yeah.
Y'all are better than that. And going into Brennan, you're going to have to be better than that. And Brennan going up against Harlan, you're going to have to be better than that. But as far as stepping up, Harlan has the higher step to get to Brennan.
Yeah.
So.
And if I was Harlan, as far as, you know, the kids that are juniors right now, the kids that are sophomores on varsity, take advantage of playing with Kannon Williams right now and Dre Spriggs as seniors because, you know, it may be a rebuilding year for y'all the next year or two. So them special moments right now of advancing to the playoffs and playing with those caliber of players right now, you cherish it. Make sure you're learning from these guys. So when they're gone, you're stepping right in and you're having the same success.
I see De La Garza doing that.
Yeah.
He's taking advantage. He's implementing himself to where now you don't miss AJ as much because he does have his own style of running, and he can be put in and use like with the Wildcat. They're using him in the Wildcat. Yeah. So you never know what type of offense Harlan is gonna run, but he's stepping up. So you'd like to see more guys stepping up.
Yep, exactly.
So that game finished 27-12.
Yeah, Kannon ended up with 148 passing yards on 18 attempts. He also had 17 yards rushing. McDade had 71 yards rushing on 20 attempts. Right. And then De La Garza with 6 carries
for 27 yards.
27 yards. Yeah.
And see, and those, even as we say those numbers should be at least doubled.
For sure.
If I'm thinking of Harlan pregame, Cannon's over 250, couple touchdown passes. McDade has a 100-yard rushing game. De La Garza has another 80 or so. They both have a touchdown. You know, like just figuratively speaking. So when you go in and you have a win and it's still somewhat underwhelming, understand we aren't taking away from the win.
No.
How you look as opposed to what's going to happen next week. We can look ahead, y'all can't. But both these teams seem to have looked ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
And if it's not that way, the play on the field doesn't show it.
Yeah.
If it's not that way, the play on the field didn't show it. All right, lastly, I was out late last night.
Yeah.
Went to Dub Ferris Stadium and caught another playoff game, second of the day, Saturday night. Corpus Christi Miller. I'll be putting out clips of Along the Wire views because we could have as many highlights of this game to run the entire show.
Yeah.
Final score 54-49. Corpus Christi Miller takes out Lampasas. Lampasas was undefeated. Miller came in at 7-4. Now 8-4 as they move on to the third round, and they'll face Bernie next week. I want to make sure everybody understands the name Lonnie Adkism. This kid, sophomore, 6'1", is a monster from Miller. And they just seem to keep pumping him out. They have another freshman, Damari. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. Damari, number 23, as well. And they still have Adrian, number 3. And last year they had 2 other receivers
catches.
And I mean, Miller's pumping them out. And their backup 2 body, from what I'm hearing, is like a body when he came in as a freshman. So, I mean, that's high praise because now you have Body who is only 18 yards behind being the number 5 all-time passer in Texas high school football history. Last night, come in and have 7 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 3 passing.
Yeah.
Last I totaled it, he was at 240 yards passing in the third quarter with 220 yards rushing. committed to Texas Southern.
Yeah.
Texas Southern's getting a hell of a football
And
player.
kudos to them. Kudos to the coaching staff for Miller for putting them in position to be successful.
Oh,
Spreading
yeah.
that field, spreading them wide, getting the receivers running downfield, and then bodies just eating them up on the scramble.
The only thing that I worry about when I see that offense is the fact that he does run it that much.
Yeah.
I know he's built for it. He'll take no slight in the fact that he has to rush it. I know his teammates have confidence in him, and their running style for him to be able to do that is awesome. You know, they have enough spacing to where he's a threat to throw and run every play. But you'd like to see a running back in that field. Could you I say imagine, but if he had a running back, even like a De La Garza at Harlan, that offense would be that much sicker because he'd be that much less called upon to take on that physicality. So in those moments when he does use it, he's that much more fresh, which I think was the case in the fourth quarter when he had a strip fumble, and he had the first down. He just had to go down. But you got like these 220-pound linemen pulling on the ball, and they just stripped him as he already had the first down.
Yeah.
But seven touchdowns, and I'll have the highlights up. But a 54-49 game. I'm worried about their defense. They had multiple double-digit leads, and it dwindled down to 4 and 5 points, and they were able to pick it back up. Defense has been an issue with Miller the entire season, but they're able to outscore everybody. The tempo when controlling the clock. Couple of head-scratching moments for me, because you can understand how a school like this that's such a powerhouse offensively also loses games because of the clock management. There was several times when coming down in the fourth quarter, they were snapping the ball, and it's like 17 seconds left on the clock, on the play clock, and it's like 5 minutes left in the game, and everybody's up at the line. Like, if you're really draining the clock to just run it, don't even line up till it's 15 seconds.
Yeah, but let's be honest, if we go and look at all the scores throughout the season this year, right?
Right.
What does it tell you? They're a running gun offense, bro.
Right.
They don't care about the timing. It's just about boom, getting the play in, getting out. How many plays can we get in? How many, can we hit our quota of 75 plays in a game or 100 plays in a game, whatever the case may be. But I think what they've done this year is, since they don't have the weapons they had last year when they made that run, and like you said, they don't have any defense, so it's been a shootout. And right now they're using body to his full potential. It's more.
Exactly.
It's like, you know what? He's a senior. We're not going to have him anymore, so we're going to ride or die with him. So they have that guy right now on offense. They got that guy on defense. They got him on special teams. I mean, he's a senior,
Exactly.
So I think the mentality that coach has is, like I said, they want to utilize him to his full potential. Not to mention, if I'm Body's peers and I see him doing what he's doing, it's like, man, I want to work like that dude.
Right.
I want to go and contribute like he contributes.
And I think my issue with that is because everybody on the sideline understood that they were beating Cal Allen. Yeah. And they tried to implement that same scheme in the second half of slowing it down and running it. But if you don't have anybody other than Body to run the ball, that's
be yourself. You got to. But I understand what you're saying.
Right.
If you had a true running back where you can just grind it out and he's going to get you 4 to 5 yards a pop, you'll transition into that running game.
And then also, I'm looking at their losses. Their loss where they've given up the least amount of points was to Cal Allen, and that's 34. Other than that, they've given up 77, 57, and 44. And you're right around that same point of giving up 49 points last night. So I guess I just think if you know that you have a defense with the capacity to give up a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter, how
from what it looks like to me is that they don't have a offense that grinds it out. They're a big play offense.
Right.
So, I mean, you were there firsthand last night.
Right.
Did you see were they really in control of a couple of series, or was it like three downs and touchdown?
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? Because they're big play offense.
Yeah.
So the reason they're not grinding it out at the end and doing the clock management, because they probably don't have the hogs up front to actually establish a running game and be able to grind out the clock.
Understood.
And like I said, they're just utilizing their speed. So we'll spread it out. That's why they're getting so many points, and they're just freaking boom, running. And they're popping out so many plays, like you said. It was 17 seconds still left on the game clock before you could snap it.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is just running and gunning, bro. And that defense too is probably tired chasing them fucking effing receivers all game long.
Right.
So that's what it is.
That's when it comes into that's thank God we have a coach on the show, because whenever it comes to anyone having those thoughts of like what's going on, you have to go into what you have at your disposal.
Yeah.
So I mean, and when you have a certain way that you are, period, that dictates exactly how you play. So they are on to Bernie.
Yeah, they're almost like that Texas Tech when Leach was there.
Right.
No defense, but none but offense.
And it's
Potent
like
offense.
Right, exactly. So it's like you have all the confidence in the world. I just wish they had a running back. I just wish they had a running back.
They're going to see it, especially come playoff time. They're going to run into a team that's going to match up with them DB-wise.
If they get past Bernie, it's going to be either Cal Allen or not Calhoun again. But it could be Cal Allen again.
Yeah.
And that's a team that we know can grind out the clock.
Yeah.
And if you can't stop them and they get up on you.
And the teams that have beat Miller, they have been able to grind out the clock and keep that offense off the ground.
Veterans.
Yep.
Cal Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Lampasas was a shootout, but
I mean, both quarterbacks already thrown for over 11,000 yards.
So
that's the reason that was a shootout.
Definitely. So that's our coverage for the weekend. Like we were saying, we got Miller next week. You got Judson with the Big King versus Wagner. Central Catholic season's come to an end now with the playoff loss.
Brennan and
Harlan.
It's gonna be a good one
next Saturday. There's going to be some big games in San Antonio high school football, so make sure y'all are all tuned in, and we will be right back and close out the show. Hey, what it do? It's your boy BDAMMONE and Coach Gomez, and we are closing this out with a couple of announcements. First being, we have got the Along the Wire mask in, so let's show you what they look like. I haven't put up any official posts. Let me take this off. Put this on. Got my Grizzly Adams gray beard going, It's not upside down, is it?
Nah, man.
All right. So this is the Along the Wire mask. Do I still sound good on the mic?
You're good.
Okay. This is the Along the Wire mask. These are available for purchase, $12 each. Just DM me, and I will mail them out to you. So, fits around.
Yep.
I got a big head. So, over the nose, under the chin, on the sides. Just another way for you to support San Antonio High School football. All the proceeds will be going back into the show and getting you the best coverage and being able to get things that we are doing for these schools coming up, because we have a couple of more things that we're doing behind the scenes. But these are the masks, so check them out. Good thickness to it, and very breathable. Because I know, let me stop. They are very, they are very comfortable. Yeah. You got a good acrylic and elastic hold, so it snaps right on, and you're able to adjust it to your chin and to your face. So make sure you hit me up in the DMs if you want a Along the Wire mask. Also, we are now coming to you on Sundays, so that we are able to get all the Friday night and Saturday night action updated into one show and not have to come back and talk about extra stuff. So
and you get a top 25.
Exactly. You get the new top 25, and you get it explained to you not just thrown at you and then you get ignored. So we are always open to those conversations on the rankings, and yeah, always open to the conversation on it. Let's see what else have we got. Next week we will be putting out not where we're going because it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving week, so make sure everybody is safe with their families. Pay attention to the advisories, as there was a COVID advisory sent out as I was at one of the games.
Yeah.
So you always want to make sure you are 100% aware of your surroundings and what's going on. And remember, this is something that when you think about yourself, you have to think about the others around you. So make sure you are washing your hands, washing your face, and not touching your face with unclean and unwashed hands, and keep you some sanitizer on you. Whenever I get around Coach, that's the first thing I do. Hey, you need something?
Yeah.
You know, it's not, oh, you're nasty. It's no, I care about you. Let me make sure you're good. I'm good. We're all good. Also, Along the Wire is going to be back next week, and we're going to let you go right now. Make sure you subscribe to the Along the Wire High School Football channel on YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BDAMMONE. Follow me on Instagram at Along the Wire. Follow me on Facebook at Along the Wire Cast. Coach Gomez at
STX7v7 on Twitter.
And you already know, Level Up Productions. Shout out Trey Wave for the intro and outro music. Collision for the pictures. And it is all good. Thank you. Hook 'em. Birds up. 210. We out.